My name is Dave White. It's so nice to meet you. I'm happy for the opportunity to tell you a bit about myself and our family. Although my name is Dave White, everybody knows me as Cowboy Dane. My story started in 1867, in Missouri. Shortly after slavery. My father left Texas in 1866. They did not get the word that we were free until June 19, 1865. Dad said he was getting out of Texas, in case they changed their mind. He was born in slavery and never knew who his mother was, because they sold her when he was a baby. They tell me she was a pretty lady, that did not take to slavery at all. Dad said, that they used to breed us like cattle, a big woman to a big man. So, they would have a big hard-working baby. He said those folks were crazy. Dad said they worked the shit out of him. So as soon as he could leave, not get shot, or have the dogs after him. He made a deal with the master, to work for a horse. It took almost a year for him to get it, but he did. He helped raise the horse from a colt, and loved him, and the horse loved him. The owner knew it, and that's what took so long. But after the horse was his, he got on him and left. He said he heard that there was no slavery in the East. He knew that the sun rises in the East. So he rode towards the rising sun until he was in Missouri. He said he would have stopped in Oklahoma, but it was too close to Texas, and it was not East. My father Bill White was born in Texas. My grandmother? I don't know who she was, but I heard she was a very pretty girl, born in Mississippi. That's probably why I married a girl from Mississippi. He said, when he got to Missouri he was very tired, and needed some rest. So he went to a horse ranch, and applied for a job, and because he could break wild horses, and could shoe them, and care for horses, he was a good horseman, or cowboy, and he went to a horse ranch and applied for a job, and he got the job. The foreman was a tall black man who liked the way my dad worked. After a while, he invited my dad to dinner. That's where he met his daughter, who became my mother, after a year or so of courting. I grew up on that ranch. Life was good. I went to school. I loved my life as a kid. Dad taught me everything that he knew about horses. Years later, my dad, mother, and owner of the ranch, one by one, they all died. The owner's son took over. He had always been jealous of me, so he gave me a lot of trouble, and made me do things that I wasn't used to doing. So I heard about a trail ride, where they were herding some cows from Missouri to the train station in Oklahoma, and they needed some men to help herd the cows, and that's how I got to Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, which was Indian Territory back then. I fell in love with it. There were a lot of black people living free, owning businesses, and having good jobs. Now don't get me wrong, they had a white side of town, and they had a black side of town. But one didn't mess with the other. Sometimes when they have football or baseball games, the white side of town would play against the black side of town. They all got pretty much along, but don't get me wrong. Black people still have to stay in their place. Oklahoma had some all-black towns there, and most of the Indians were black, and I felt comfortable there. It was a Wild West town, where everybody rode horse, and wore their guns on their hip, in holsters, as I did. So, I fell in love with a little town called Ardmore, Oklahoma, where the railroad headquarters were. I married my sweetheart Mary Owens on September 9, 1897, at age 30, in Carter County, Oklahoma. That was a day to remember. She was born in 1879, in Mississippi. She was 18 years old when we married, 12 years younger than me. The only thing? I fell in love with more than my horse Dusty. You could tell, old girl was half white, and half black, but she was the prettiest woman I had ever seen, and was willing to talk to me. Yes, me. I could not believe it. Me. Now, you know I hooked up with her. We had 4 adorable daughters. And 2 sons. Dave Jr. After all those girls, I had a son. So, we nicknamed him Son. And later, we had Fred. All our children were born in the Indian Territory that became Oklahoma. We lived in Ardmore. My 2 boys, Dave Jr. is my first son. I was so happy I started yelling son, son. So, we nicknamed him Son. And my other son Fred, being the youngest, he had to fight for everything. When he grew up, he became a boxer. Our eldest daughter Manda was born in 1899. We nicknamed her Model. She looked like a model, but when the kids called her name, it came out as Model, and it stuck. She married a guy named Frank, and they had Frank Jr. and another son who lives in Racine, close to Madison, Wisconsin. Think he worked for America Motors. We had our daughter Loriana in 1902. This is her grandson, Charles Russell. When she got older, she and her husband Reese Russell opened this garage in Ardmore, Oklahoma. We had our daughter Blanche in 1900. Then we had our baby Virginia, who we called Virgie, in 1903. Family, we love you, we are your ancestors.